Okay, so actually, do we want to switch parts?
Yeah, sure.
This is going to be a weird episode already.
Yeah, we should just figure them out. Hello, and welcome to Do the Right Thing. I'm Jarvis.
I'm Matthias, and this feels weird.
This already is weird, and the reason why it's weird is because it's been a difficult week for both of us.
That's right. But before we get into that, so the rest of the show is Jarvis and I are both writers,
yes,
or trying to be writers.
Yeah, we are both
struggling
writers,
and we understand how difficult it can be to just sit down and write.
So we're doing a challenge. Each week we pick 3 randomly generated words and we create a whole short story around them, either them being the main focus of that story or just flavor.
Yeah, the challenge is that we have to write a complete story in 30 minutes or less, or a little bit, just a little bit more. A little bit more. You stretch that around.
Yeah.
And so then we come on the podcast, we read our stories, we talk about what we learned in writing them, and then we talk about stories written by listeners.
Yeah, we're just simply here to help you do the right thing.
Like the writing thing.
Yeah.
But you guys already know this. So the reason this episode is so janky from the start is because we felt that the rest of the quality would be so low. We just wanted to get you guys ready for it from the intro on.
Which is why we switched it up. As you can probably already hear, we have a nice little setup right now. Basically, we have the mic between 2 chairs and about 3 towels draped over it.
Over the chairs. And so there's kind of like a shrine on top of this box where the mic is resting.
So, if like someone walked in, they'll think that we're praying to the mic gods.
That it does. And it kind of looks like an idol, with its one glowing eye.
Its one red eye.
So, okay, for real. So, Jarvis and I have, we've both been moving, back to university this past week.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, and those of you on the Discord already know, Jarvis had a lot of trouble.
Oh God.
He moved into his place and then found out that it was horrible.
Yeah, so when I moved in, I was so excited. It's my first apartment. I'm moving in with my buddies. It was supposed to be a great and wholesome time, but when we walked in, it first of all, the place looks like it was made in 1972, and it also looks like it hasn't been cleaned since then.
Okay, there you go.
There was dirt everywhere, dents in the walls. The dryer itself was detached from the wall. So basically, if we had used it without knowing that, we would have set the entire apartment complex on fire.
Fascinating. Okay.
And
there's mold too.
And there's mold. And my carpet was riddled with cigarette burns that weren't mine. And there's this kind of funny cabinet in our kitchen. Everything else looks pretty fine, right? Besides it being dirty. But this one cabinet, when you open it, it's covered in rot and water damage to where the bottom is falling through the floor.
Wow. We love college apartment complexes.
And also how much care and time they really put into.
And it's not a cheap place either.
No.
It's a solid pricing too.
It's definitely more than like a lot of other places here.
Yeah. So you were able to get a different apartment, right?
No. So
or at least temporarily.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is that for the last couple of days, they've just been coming in and fixing it. So I kind of had to be there just to move stuff, and also just going and getting just little things that we needed. But they've fixed the carpet. They've promised.
So you've been living there the whole time?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but they fixed the carpet. They cleaned up everything. It's on its way to being a brand new place. They haven't touched the cabinet yet.
The moldy cabinet?
Because that seems like a 3-day job.
Okay.
Because they have to basically take the entire thing out. Like you can't salvage any part of that. But benefit, which I honestly kind of love because, I am a very frugal person, we got half rent off for next month.
Yeah.
So
originally it was $100 off, but now it's better.
So at first it was $100, but now next month I'm only going to be paying $250.
Okay, that's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah. Okay.
Which it is a $200.
Especially since you didn't actually have to move out.
Yeah.
To a different place.
Thankfully not. And also I've just been at work, so I don't really have to think about it too much.
I work at a bookstore, and it is the weeks coming up to the beginning of the semester are crazy busy because
we call it first flight week.
Yeah, because everyone's buying their books and stuff like that, so it's rush and it's nuts.
And also, right across from where you work is where I work at Starbucks. And everyone and their mother, after they go and buy books, they come on over to where I am, and they basically just buy up everything in the entire store. So that's pretty nice
for Starbucks.
For Starbucks, yeah. So we have to make the drinks and then sell them, and then also today we were doing free samples.
Oh God!
So on top of cleaning every dish and making every drink, they're like, "Hey, can you warm up 4 pastries and cut them up into tiny pieces, and then put them in tiny paper cups, and then arrange it to where it looks nice, and then walk out and leave your station while the other people working there are kind of dying."
I really wish we had video of Jarvis's face as he tells the story. It is there's a range of emotion. It's really quite beautiful.
Just I don't know, I love working with coffee, but I don't know if Starbucks is it. But that's a totally different story. That's totally different story.
To a couple new things to say. So Jarvis and I are finally in the same room again.
Yes,
it's been how many episodes? Probably 8, something like that.
No, way more than that.
Way more than that.
Because
I think it's 12 because
that's the AC.
This is episode 20, right? Or 21?
Yeah, this is episode 20, and I remember
Pat on the back, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, 25 is going to be that's the bigger one to me. 25 is
25
because it's a quarter of the way to 100.
No, that is true. It's a trademark.
Yeah, but 20 for sure. Is
but I know, because the very first episode that we did for the summer was episode 9.
Yeah.
Which ever since then our quality got so much better.
Yeah.
Just in general.
That's 11 episodes. So 11 episodes ago is when we were in at the end of spring. Well, it's probably the middle of spring, honestly, because we went on hiatus pretty early.
So 3 months.
So finally back together.
Yeah, but we're back, bitch.
And we would have had a guest, but did he get called in for work? Was that it?
No, yeah, so basically
we would have had Alex again.
Yeah, we would have had Alex, which would have been great, but hopefully we'll have him next week or something. But basically we were supposed to record on Sunday, but since a whole bunch of stuff was happening with
the apartment and moving and stuff.
We weren't really able to do it then, so right now it's Monday, and we would have had him on, but it was basically short notice, because I didn't know until I moved in on Saturday. So he just wasn't able to make it because he had work.
It's really unfortunate. So hopefully we'll have him back on again. But in good news, the response from you guys has been insane.
Oh yeah, we had a huge outpour.
I looked on the subreddit just now. 69 comments. It was 68 until I posted my story. One whole day late. One day and about 12 hours late because of all the moving and procrastination. I should have done it earlier, and I will do it earlier this time.
Well, you're in good company because I did mine an hour ago.
Yeah, so we apologize for that you guys weren't able to look at our store before, but I mean, you also should have. I mean, by the time this episode's out, you don't have any time to read it before the episode comes out because that's when the episode comes out. But you theoretically would have 2 days before the episode comes out to talk about it. I love the discussion that was going on there so much. There was 17 stories before R2.
Yeah.
And with 68 comments, that's kind of clearly these stories are getting comments. I think honestly, I only saw one
almost about at least 3 per,
something like
going
that,
to 6 per story, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Thank you guys so much for commenting on each other's posts and giving feedback. I saw some wonderful back and forths.
Yeah. I
mean, my dream for it is that every single story has at least 1 or 2 comments, and it seemed like that was basically it. I personally apologize for not commenting that much, but with the crazy week, and also to be frank, reading all of the stories takes a lot of time.
It does. And also, to be even more frank, I'm the slowest reader known to man. So literally getting through one of those stories takes me like 30 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, it'll take a while, but at the same time, the ones, well, like just reading through them, they were all really,
they were
really
fantastic. Recently, if you didn't listen to the last episode, we made new rules regarding how we're going to talk about stories. We're not going to talk about every single story. We are going to randomly select 4 of them according to a formula thing that I did. It's on the subreddit. You can look at it. It's pinned to the top.
Yeah.
And one of them we're going to pick, right?
Yes.
And the one, it took me forever to pick one of them because every single story, no exception, had something I wanted to talk about. And I'm sorry for the ones that that we're not going to talk about this episode. I really, really wish we could have.
Yeah. But also, that shouldn't discourage you from continuing to actually write.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of the way that we do it, every single time that you do the right thing, you are more likely to get chosen for the stories.
Exactly.
Section.
It's the perfect system. And then also, I feel that when you do write, you should... When you write, you probably write for a host of reasons. I know I started off writing because of therapy, just trying to get over things, and grew into a passion and a love to where it's my favorite thing to do. Where's it going with that? Oh yeah, what?
Sorry, I was just turning up the volume.
Okay, yeah. So when you do write for this week or next week, it is great to be shouted out, and we'll definitely try and shout you out as much as possible. But you should also think of it as kind of like a workout. Workout of your mental writing muscles.
Right. I mean, I've said this before, and I'm going to continue saying it probably on every other episode, but you have a million stupid, terrible words in your writing brain, and you got to get them out so that you could get the good ones so they're buried on top of all that dirt, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean... Obviously, there's going to be times where you actually do crank out something awesome, even before you hit that 1 million. But it's just that's just another way of saying practice makes perfect.
Yeah, because really, it's just it's a knowledge thing, and it's refining your craft. Every person that makes a beautiful dresser drawer has made a really shitty chair.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Sure. I'm with it, Jarvis.
There we go.
So, let's get into the actual sections.
Slight tangent though. I think a perfect unit of measurement is a sex.
What?
Sex, right? Because we got 69 comments, which means that's a sex of comments.
Okay, I thought you were making a geometry like sextuplet, just number 6. But no, you mean the sex number.
Yeah, the sex number. So if there's ever 69 of something or 138 of something, which is 2 of 69.
Okay, I was not good for non medium, but I was losing my mind there in those moments.
Were bewildered.
My eyes were crossing. I'm not joking.
That'll be 1 sex, and then that'll be 2 sex, 3 sex, 4.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know where you were going with that, but that's great. So let's get into the actual sections that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
So first of all, the words this week, which you may have already noticed from the title of this episode, are
damaged,
rural, as in rural town,
rural,
sparkling, and tiger.
Yes.
So it was really interesting reading all the stories this week because
a lot of stories with tigers,
but it was really interesting seeing the different ways that that people interpreted tigers. Right.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of themes of just tigers kind of being powerful, kind of mystical creatures.
Or the eye of a tiger.
Yeah, and a lot of them were subservient to a greater mystical being, at least 2 or 3, which I thought was a very interesting
and then
thing to explore.
Was a tiger mech.
Yeah, that was
which I thought was awesome because I love anything that has to do with a mech.
As always, and I don't mean this as this is just the correct thing to say, but I mean our stories are always great, so please go to that subreddit and read them all, or just scroll through and pick one to read, because there is 17, so I get if you can't read all of them, but they're awesome. They're just frankly awesome, and there's 100%. Multiple. I would say most that I am pained that I don't have the time to talk about them. I'll probably go back and leave a comment if I haven't already, because they were fantastic.
Super fine.
So Jarvis, which words did you choose?
I chose damaged, rural, rural.
Rural.
You know what I'm trying to say. Rural is how I normally say it. And what was the other one? Oh no.
Sparkling or tiger?
Okay, so I put sparkled, so I
that's fine.
Okay, so I did all four then.
You are allowed to slightly bend the rules. So if you want to change the word, I mean, if it's the same-ish word, it just doesn't fit in the same sentence. I don't ever want someone to write a clunky sentence just because they have to get in that particular tense of the word. So if you want to say it sparkled in the light, right? That's totally fine. You don't have to say it was sparkling
in the light.
It doesn't matter. Or if you want to turn it into a noun, it's great. So long as it seems like you're following the rule more or less, it's fine. Yeah. I see a lot in the comments, people saying that they went over the time limit and so their story doesn't count or something like that. And no, of course it counts. I mean, the 30-minute rule, the only time that we're really going to I don't want to say crack down on it, but the only time that we wouldn't choose to talk about your story or something like that is if you wrote too much for us to read.
If it's obvious that you spent 5 hours.
Yeah, and that's only just because of practicality reasons. Yeah. It's not because it doesn't count. What it does count for is that it's practice for you to get better at your writing, which is the most important thing.
And then also, I'd totally commend you for spending that much time out of your day and just writing that much. Yeah. But you also have to think, hey, they only have 2 hours.
Right, yeah, we only have so much time to read the stories too. There's been times where I went and wrote a much longer story. The longest one I wrote was 2,000 words, and it definitely was way over the time limit.
Okay.
But I think that would be my limit. I don't think I'm going to reach that again. I don't think I'm going to let myself do that again.
Yeah.
If I do that, I'm going to go back and cut it down to be more reasonable, just because of reading time. But anyway,
what I should probably do, because I think my longest was actually the one about the link, the angel link, and the kind of Twitch censoring.
I think I know exactly which one you're talking about, but this is the weirdest way you could describe it.
It really is.
Is it the one with the butterflies?
No. It's the one where the guy basally is a...
Oh, the streamer.
He's a surrogate.
Yeah, that was the one before last.
That was the longest one that I wrote, I think.
It wasn't crazy long.
It topped off at 3,000 words.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It did not feel that way to me.
It didn't. Mostly because I decided just to... My big toes numb.
Oh, that's too bad.
But back on me, real quick.
Yeah.
I chose to use all of the words. Writing it this week, as we all know, was a little bit more difficult. But
yeah, we both went super last minute.
Yeah. But thankfully, I had time to actually charter out 30 minutes. I was in my new place after it was all done up, so I felt more comfortable there. And I know in previous weeks, Matthias, you have told me that I should try and broaden my horizon.
I said that. Regarding voice, right?
Regarding voice.
Yes.
Yeah. And you said that I should write from the point of view of a teenage cheerleader.
Yes, and write it genuinely is what I said.
See, that's the part that I didn't hear.
Okay.
And I also didn't use that point of view. But it's the main character because
so it's third person limited.
Yes, it's third person.
Okay, yeah, that's
which
fine.
is still a change from point of view because I do a lot of first person points of view because going deeper into the thoughts.
Okay,
but it does involve a cheerleader doing cheerleader things.
Okay, but here's the question, Jarvis, and here's the thing that I was trying to push you on, and I'm looking forward to see if it happened. Is the narration still very broody and noir, even with the cheerleader?
See,
because that's what I was trying to help you branch off from.
The thing, though, right, is I don't think it's broody and noir, but it does. have some of the things going. Okay, it is on the, like, I guess, darker side, but I would not...
The darker side of cheerleading,
yes.
You mean? Okay.
But I could not see a hard-boiled detective working the beat saying this story. Okay,
well, that is a step in the right direction.
Now, I can see it being maybe, like, a caseworker.
Okay. Those voices are... I mean, I don't know what a caseworker would be like. Okay, so I'll just go into my story just real quick, and then we can start on your story. I think honestly we should make this section into just a how did we get to writing, and then instead of talking about how we use the words, unless if it's like really significant and universal, like we're referencing the listener stories, I think we should just save that for our story sections. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times we like basically repeat ourselves. We've run out of things to say because we already said them. Mm-hmm. Okay,
I see that.
So I use the words. Everything but damaged. I thought I was going to use damaged. I thought I was actually going to use all of them. And then I didn't want to use all of them. Yeah. So I decided I didn't see a super great place to put damaged, so I just didn't put it in there. So, okay. But I had the idea pretty early on, so. But we can talk about that when we get to my story. So, Jarvis, do you want to go ahead and start?
Yes. I did not actually make a title for this one, but I'm going to make it up right now. I'm gonna call it Pyramid. Deja shook like a freshly cracked fault line. Blood caked up under her nails, and her hair tangled up and singed. Gashes and bruises reached up her arms and along her midsection. Looked so bad it'd be hard to tell if the other guy tried to kill her or tenderize her. Her eyes were dry, borderline bloodshot from all the stress and crying. So much so you can barely see the remainders of a smidge of makeup. Some hero. Her arms were held out, tried her best to get away from the blood, the foreign blood. She's always been squeamish, would eke at a wayward fly and treated every single mouse as the embodiment of the next plague. But blood, no, she hadn't thought about blood in quite some time. Never feared it. The most blood she's seen was when Becky fell off the top of the pyramid, sending Sarah's face into the turf, snapped her nose at the source, and permanently put a crook in it. But this blood was different to her, as if it radiated with his sickness. Are you sure I can't get you anything? A water? Coffee? Cigarette? She perked up at the man's words, finally getting a look at the gray box they were in. It was almost picturesque of what every hard-boiled cop film made in interrogation rooms out to be. Only difference is the man across from her had a soft, kind face on, with worried eyes, probably figuring out how to get the story out of this damaged girl before judgment came. He brought her a cig, Marlboro Red, the cowboy killer. She sparked the end with a rhythmic 3 flicks and a long, aching drag. The man across from her could tell it was ritualistic, that she lived that life, or at least tried to. He'd heard and seen a lot of stories like hers. Never thought one would end up how it did. No, that's a first. On the exhale, the words croaked out. Thanks. She gave a false grin and let her body rest. You're welcome. Now, I have to ask you some questions. I don't want you to walk me through it or relive it. We collected enough to get it. We just want your side of some events and clear up some speculation. She nodded, understanding it was the next step, the whole purpose of her being here. So, when did your relationship with Mr. Wilson start? Coach Wilson and I slept with each other a week after junior year. Promised it for a recommendation. Welts built up in her eyes. She fought like a trooper, only letting one drop seep out and wiping it away as soon as it came with her questionable dignity. I've known him for years before that. Used to live in our neighborhood and helped my dad in the lawn and talked about the Rangers or something. He was at every cookout. Even taught my brother how to swim. They hung there for a bit. Daisy just shaking her head and staring forward. And he had multiple relationships with other girls on the cheer team. The night before, when we talked, found out he'd promised a lot of things for what he wants. Some of them even had to sleep with him to get on the cheer team. We're talking right out of middle school. And it wasn't always consensual. Becky even said the best thing in her life was breaking her nose. Got her away from him and into Tiger Woods level drugs. Rich people's groceries, she called them. Never saw her happier. The man jotted it all down, coming to one question that could just push her, but needed an answer. What was the snap? Why kill him? Because he knew everyone's mother and father and shook the hands with every single judge and jury in this town. We all knew they call us horrible things and say that he doesn't deserve to fucking hang for everything he did. You know, when Masson killed herself out of the blue, I always thought something was off. She'd never do that. She had so many book ideas and dreams and wants and was in love with her boyfriend. She could only fight the tears for so long and eventually let them flow, breaking down every scent, smell, and sight she felt that night. The man across from her passed a napkin, his slight smile gaining her a bit of energy, enough to take it.
I really like this story.
Okay.
This is this long monologue, basically, is kind of what it feels like.
You think so?
A dramatic monologue, okay. I would say. It tells a story. Because you have it in third person. I don't know if it's limited or omniscient, but it's in third person, but within the narration of this character, of course, it's I, right? It's a first person story within a... Like, she's telling the story, right? The real story is what happened with all of that. I
think it's definitely third person, but she isn't telling the story. Whoever this third person is telling the story.
No, I mean, like,
she's telling
the story of what happened to her and all the other girls.
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, she is telling the story, but the story,
right?
But the caveat of it is within third person.
So I found it very interesting. I will say, I'm making faces at you because which is not great audio. I need to not do that. I'm making faces at you because that's very detective. That is a detective voice. It's very detective voice.
It is.
Like, we can go through a couple lines.
We'll see. Okay, I mean,
you weren't actually trying to do the cheerleader voice. You just you chose not to do that thing. You had a cheerleader, but it's a very emo dramatic.
I did half and half. Okay, here is the number one reason why I find it very hard to switch. Right, because, as you know, and the audience might even know, I've been working in this one world for so long.
Mm-hmm. Weekend City,
which is
a very noir place,
and I haven't finished it, and I don't know if I want to switch it up when I haven't finished this idea that I'm still working on.
I think you should. I think part of the practice should be going back and forth, right?
Okay.
Like, you should be able, especially because you might have a character that demands a different voice or something like that within that story.
Okay, that's it.
Because it's going to be probably. I hope there's going to be like some different characters with different voices, right?
Well, there are a lot of different characters.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So if you find like a more happy-go-lucky one, right?
There is actually.
Yeah,
it's the other main character.
So if another main character, if they're happy-go-lucky, I really hope that their voice isn't exactly the same as this.
Well,
because
it's like
I feel like there would be a disconnect.
It's like 20s, 30s happy-go-lucky because she's like the talky starlet, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I love this voice, okay, but
yes, I have done it.
Yes, that's all I'm saying. I think it would behoove you.
Yeah,
I don't even know exactly. I think I used that word correctly, but I don't really know what it means.
To switch it up.
Yeah.
The only thing though is that I'm not sure when it started because that didn't used to be my voice. I used to write completely differently.
Well, try something out.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have a very emotional and slow indie voice because I was just a suburban kid, huh?
This is definitely a slow emotional. It's a very cynical voice.
Yeah,
constantly.
I mean,
like I said, I love it.
Yeah,
I just switch it up.
I honestly feel it's because I've just grown to be a more cynical person.
It could be. That could be part of it.
So I have to figure out what happiness is.
I'm pretty sure that's basically what your internal monologue sounds like. It just sounds like all dark. It's like the city is in smoke.
The city screams. No, actually,
you're constantly smoking. How many of your stories have cigarettes? I don't mean to just make fun of you this whole this whole section, but how many of your stories have people smoking? I would say most.
Not a lot of them.
Most of them.
Wait, are you talking about the ones for the podcast?
For the podcast.
Oh, okay. If we're talking about the ones for the podcast.
More than 50% for sure.
More than 50%, yeah.
Yeah.
Only because, and here's the thing, I'm not going to encourage smoking, but...
it's cool.
It looks awesome, and also, there's this fantastic movie, please watch it. It's called In the Mood for Love. It's a film by Wong Kar-wai, one of the best directors ever, one of the best writers ever, and he's from Hong Kong.
Okay.
And basically, there's this one great scene where the man is basically pouring over his work because he's kind of at a dead end, and the only way that he can just get some release is just at work, but he's smoking at the same time.
Okay.
And there's a light right above him. Mm-hmm. So all this smoke is perfectly curling into this beautiful white cloud, and then touches the light, and then it disperses into the air. And it's a fantastic shot.
So for that reason alone, smoking is cool.
For that reason, I like the picture.
Yeah.
And just how the body sits when someone does smoke. It's
for the record,
interesting.
Only the platonic ideal of smoking is actually cool.
Yeah, everything else is.
Yeah, the movie version in which it doesn't cause any lung damage.
Yeah.
And also smells better.
Oh, definitely. Like he wasn't using grill cigarettes.
So for the record, and vaping, it's not. Does it just fix that?
I'm gonna say it. Vaping is kind of more dangerous.
Could be.
Well, it's because the nicotine is so condensed, and there's a whole bunch of other metals.
So,
but that's besides the point.
If you listen to this podcast, please don't get encouraged to smoke because don't do that. That's the obligatory. Do the right thing. Don't smoke.
Maybe instead you should drink some coffee, go on a walk, eat a sandwich.
Yeah.
go to your local CBD dispensary.
And just hang out.
And just hang out and talk to like other people. Have friends.
You know what?
Get out of your room.
You know what the best drug is? Friendship.
And heroin.
I mean, those go hand in hand. So let's get back to your story.
Yes.
So where did this? How did this idea come about? Because obviously, like, it's not a very bright subject.
Yes. No.
It does focus around the victim of a rapist, apparently a serial underage rapist, and the main character murders them in the background, which is nice touch. But yeah, how did that? I mean, I don't want to phrase it this way, but why did you choose to write this story? Obviously, it's actually completely valid. I'm not saying that you shouldn't write about these things because it's a part of life and we got to deal with it. Right?
I mean, the truth is, I was a little worried about writing it because it is definitely something very touchy. But I also felt that as a writer and as a person in general, I like to allow myself to be wrong, and like if it wasn't written in the right way, that's just my fault for not doing it that way.
And you're going to learn.
Right? Yeah, I think you learn from it. But the reason why I did choose it is, first and foremost, I've been playing a lot of Persona 5.
Okay.
And if anyone knows, and if anyone has played it, the very first palace, you go up against a coach that did something very, very similar to this. So that's step one. Also, there's been a lot of news around Epstein.
Right.
But these are all things that were within my mind as I started writing. And then also, I started off with just the picture of this girl. And I liked how there was caked in blood under the nails.
Okay.
She was shaking. Her hair was matted and tangled, but it was singed at the end, so there must have been some sort of fire around.
I will be honest, I think I missed some of those details.
Okay.
Yeah. I noticed the blood, but I wasn't sure where the blood was coming from. Maybe I was just reading too fast. Because I was reading it while you were reading, trying to read ahead, so I had time to think about stuff to say. I should probably read them further ahead next time. But as we said at the beginning, at the top of this episode, we did these pretty last second.
Yeah. I mean, there were blood in two places. There was blood under the nails, and there was blood everywhere else from the other person that she had her hands out because she was trying to distance herself from that blood. As if that blood was infused with the sickness.
Yeah. So some stuff that I do like of how you executed this topic is I like how the main character is a victim, right? And they still feel really terrible because of what's happened to them, but they also, are strong enough to not only that they put down their abuser, but they also. They're trying to be emotionally strong too. Maybe not in an entirely healthy way, fighting against the tears, right? Because crying is good for you.
Yeah.
But I mean that the character is, and I mean at the end they let it go, right? They allow themselves to cry at the end, which I thought was I thought it was good.
And something that I actively tried to do was to never really make this character of Deja, I think I named her, necessarily weak.
Yeah.
In a sense.
I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, she is beaten up, and the other person looked at her like a damaged girl, but at the same time, she never really showed any real damage.
Yeah, she's mentally. Crying because there's these terrible, sad things have happened. And she's... she's. I mean, she feels kind of not necessarily confident in her actions, in what she did, but definitely she's not that remorseful of it, which is it's interesting. So I thought there was a cool progression, and as you tell the story, as you relate the other events that happen around this character and their abuser. What were you trying to do? Is the question. Well, was there something you were trying to get out, or?
I will say though that this was definitely I just need to write for do the right thing, and also it was it's been a while since I wrote, so I just wanted to like write something. There was no real end goal in mind. It all honestly just started with this with the picture of this girl that I had in my head and just the events of it. I wanted to probably do like a lot more with what happened and then like drop more hints as to like keep the audience guessing what like really did end up happening instead of it being so obvious.
Yeah, I was wondering, on the opposite end of that, you don't really go into like how the killing went down. Mm-hmm. How did I know that it happened, but I don't know what else happened. How did it happen, or the events leading up to it? Mm-hmm. I know the rationale behind it, which I thought was well doled out by the end. Of just like, I mean, well, one thing I'm slightly confused on is it implied that other girl, the one that killed herself, actually like was murdered, or
no?
Okay, it was a suicide that just like was completely like, I don't want to say unwarranted, but like unexpected because no one knew it was him.
The like main character basically knew this person, of course, and said that this person would never do that, but she didn't know the actual turmoil this character was going through by the hands of this man that she did kill. And also another thing that I totally noticed is in the story I have that Becky fell off the top of the pyramid and broke Sasha's nose. But later on, it says that the happiest moment in Becky's life was when she broke her nose. So I just messed up there in writing.
I just totally glossed over that, both when you were reading it and when I was reading it. Oh. But well, actually, I was about to go into that. I really liked how you brought that blood imagery back that way, and how it almost went positive because it was the thing that saved Becky.
Yeah. Well, it's 2 and 2, right? Yeah. Becky got away from him, but she's on. But
there was a
Tiger Woods level drugs,
and there was a bloody cost to it.
Yes,
just in the same way, there's a bloody cost for the main character to get it away.
Exactly, and also for people that don't know what I mean when I say Tiger Woods level drugs. Back in 2017, when Tiger Woods was arrested for a DUI, he had level 5 drugs in him, which means
I'm sorry. Level 5?
Level 5. It's very high level.
Right. That sounds like a joke, but okay.
But that's literally what it's called. He had cocaine, marijuana, a little bit of heroin.
Okay.
He had LSD in him, alcohol. So
wait, all at the same time?
Yes.
That is.
He was rolling.
Not sound like a
and also
good
he was driving too. So he was just blacking out halfway through.
The driving is the worst drug out there.
He was also on driving.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when I say Tiger Woods level drugs in there, it's just a lot of drugs. But yeah. So
I like what was the line you said afterwards that you called it like rich people's groceries?
Rich people's groceries.
Which is fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like when I wrote it, I was like, you know what, I could totally see someone just holding up money or like holding up like a bag. It's like, I got groceries. I got groceries today, baby.
Okay. So if you were to rewrite the story, how would you handle that, Jarvis? What would you change?
I would definitely have to spend a lot more time on it. Okay. I feel like something like this could be something like a really great scene if it's spent with time and care. I would probably start from the very beginning. I would go into a lot more detail of what Deja kind of looks like, and also what the other guy is, because the other guy is he's the like good cop that tries to like get the story, and not the like good cop bad cop type deal. I would put a lot more thoughts on my end on the events that really happen. Because normally when I start writing, it is stream of consciousness, but I have a loose map of like where I want to go, or at least what happened right before the events of what I am writing, but this time, since I was short on time, I just flew at it. So I was building it as it went.
Yeah.
And by doing that, and it being something that's hinting back at something that happened off screen, I feel that it would have been a lot better if I knew the event I was describing more.
And knew how to, like, hint at it.
Exactly. Because
so to know it, you would be able to hint at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because as of right now, I feel that any hint that I try is more just like a full whiff, you know?
Huh?
Because like, if you walk in a room, it's like, oh, this room has a hint of caramel. But if it's a full whiff, that room smells like caramel, dude. Caramel.
Okay. You have anything else you want to talk about in your story? On that note?
But no, I would definitely go back and just basically I wish I had a little bit more time to really work on it.
Yeah, I would like to see the story kind of like unfold, like the reader doesn't know exactly what's happened until we slowly realize it without it being said, right?
And then also, I think something that could fit into the initial challenge is I want to switch up the point of view. Maybe it's the point of view of a high school cheerleader.
I don't. To be fair to you, I don't think in this particular story you could pull off a cheerful voice and it be good.
No, but it doesn't have to be a cheerful voice. It can just be the point of view of a high school cheerleader.
I agree, but that's what I want you to try. A cheerful voice. I think you would very much benefit from writing a optimistic, happy, not emo voice.
Okay. Oh wow.
Do your polar opposite.
Hey! I'm a very happy and optimistic guy.
Yes, but your voices that you write in are not.
That's true, because that's what I feel on the inside. But
what you just contradict yourself.
But I used to write a lot of comedies, so I think I might do that. Wait, no,
write a cheerful comedy. Yeah,
I've done a very funny one on this.
I want to see you write a happy story about a bunch of ducklings, okay?
Can it instead be about romance?
So long as it's a happy romance and not emo.
So nothing bad happens? Okay.
Nothing bad can happen.
What if within this romance...
And they have to be laughing?
There is infidelity.
No.
But they learn how to get over it and they end up loving each other even more at the end.
To be honest, the story itself, the plot does not actually matter, okay? You just need to try out a different voice, please.
Okay.
Please and thank you. This is my professional critique as a professional critiquer, which is what I am.
I can sense that Matthias is tired of hearing
I'm
my
tired
voice.
of the emos. Yeah. I just want a 1 week break. I want a 1 story break. No.
So then after that one story...
Oh, you can return back to it. It's fine, but I want you to try out something new.
So how about this? Next week, happy... Great, love it. The week after that, we're going back to Weekend City.
You can go as deep into it as you want.
I'm finna do a death scene from like Weekend City, so there's gonna be spoilers on that episode 22.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, what about your story?
Yeah, sure. Let's jump into that. Okay, so on my story, so as I said, I wrote all of the words except for damaged, and I had an idea early on that I didn't completely stick to. And I guess we could just say that for after. Yeah. But I kept trying to brainstorm stuff, and I couldn't branch off from that one idea.
Granted, you wrote this literally a second before we started rolling.
Yes, but I had been thinking about it, not like consistently all week, but like once a day the whole week. And just stuff got away from me. And actually have been working full time and moving at the same time, and et cetera, et cetera.
Honestly,
excuses, I know.
I feel that we do boast about doing the right thing and how it's hard to really find time and all that. But I feel now that we're both a lot more busy, we can really practice what we preach.
Yeah, that's right.
And really, focus on doing the right thing when we actually have stuff to do.
Yeah. I'm hoping that when the school year starts for me, one thing that really worked for me when I was doing so-called writers was I would sit down to do homework, right? And as part of my warm-up, basically to get to the homework, to make myself to do the homework, was to do the 30 minutes challenge, right? So I could actually make myself do something, right? Or at the very least, it was also just a great way to procrastinate, because it's like, I can't write the essay now. I have to write my story before, so they talk about it on the thing. So that's what I'm hoping it'll give me. Well, we'll see how it goes. I think I'm going to be extremely busy this year, probably the busiest we've been. Actually, this is a good time to seed that we might have to transition when the school starts. We might have to transition to a bi-weekly schedule that is not confirmed. We're going to try it to go weekly. We're going to struggle through it.
Yeah, because as of right now, it really depends on how busy our workload is, and we love doing the podcast, and it's nothing like that, and we want to continue to do this as much as possible. But I think it really depends on how busy we are, but to keep the quality and also keep a nice mental space for both of us, so we could be on the podcast and comment and basically interact with y'all as much as possible and keep positive throughout the entire thing. And we might switch to bi-weekly, but it all really depends on how busy we actually end up being.
We're going to try to commit to going at least a month, 4 weeks weekly during the busy school year. And if we can handle that, we'll continue. If we can't, we'll switch to bi-weekly. If we find out week 2 that does not work at all, we'll switch earlier. Yeah. But we're going to try. Yeah. Because we don't want to lose this awesome momentum that you guys have given us. And seeing you guys comment every week, or even just knowing that people are listening is fantastic.
Exactly. And if that does happen, nothing will really change. Yeah. We will definitely have more guests, and the episodes might be a little bit longer, just depending, because we'll have 2 weeks worth of submissions and stuff.
Oh god, we'll figure something out. Speaking of another thing that we want, this is a great place to put it, right in the middle where it's gonna get lost. Okay. Great. But I wanted to. We're gonna have to figure out something about reading all the stories, because right now we're able to keep up, but only kind of just barely. If we're reading all week and paying attention.
Yes.
So we're gonna have to figure something out. We definitely want to make it as fair as possible, and I don't want to just get random selections. I do want to be able to pick some specific stuff to talk about. So we're just gonna have to see. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say the most upvoted one is the one that we'll talk about or something like that. I don't want to do that, especially since
as of right now, the idea is that we will read all of them.
Yeah.
And even further on, we could maybe break it down to where you read half and I read half.
Yeah, or something like that.
And then we just compare notes. Yeah. But we definitely want to give all of y'all the shine that you deserve and read as many as possible, so that we can definitely make that decision with our one that isn't random for the 5 picks for the week as to which one we think we could talk about the most.
We really did not expect this to come so early, but
I thought
thank
no
you,
one
Doof
would,
Media.
Thank you a lot, Doof Media, and thank you the audience for keeping with it. Personally, I thought we would have 5 listeners for the next 30 episodes.
Yeah.
But look, we're at episode 20, we have 17 submissions, and this month we're looking towards 600 downloads.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
you guys
pretty good.
Fantastically dedicated. You're doing the right thing, maybe even more than we do.
Exactly. So for a little quick mid-roll, if you want to support us Right Thing Boys, you can always donate to the Doof Media Patreon.
Great, yeah. This is real. We've really planned this episode really well.
Yes.
Hey, I warned you guys. You listening, I warned you that this would be a train wreck of an episode.
Hey, listen, this is a very fun...
It's actually fine.
But influential episode.
I do wish that Alex was here. Yeah.
Me too.
Hopefully we'll have one of the Doofcast on sometime soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. or Mrs. Doof.
Yeah. I would say that Scott and Elise is Mr. and Mrs. Doof. I would say that.
So...
But
Matt
I would
be
also,
Mr. Doof?
I would also say that Matt is also Mr. Doof. I actually, multiple times, when I was explaining to my parents, who I was working with, I kept saying, Scott and Matt Daly, like they were either siblings or married. And they are neither, in case you did not know that.
They aren't married?
They're not married.
Oh.
Legally, anyway.
I was worried for Scott's wife for a second. I was like, she doesn't know.
She doesn't know that there's another man with the same last name. Actually, I don't know if Elise... I think it's Elise Daly. I think they... Anyway, let's actually talk about my story. Let's end this weird section. So I actually don't really have that much more to say about the story other than I think it's decent. I tried to do a little bit of magical realism, something like that anyway. I don't know if that I actually wrote something that actually fits that term, but we can talk about that after I read it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Go ahead and get front and center.
This story is called Tiger Vision, because I couldn't think of a better name. Little Billy Jones was the first of the family to see it. He came sprinting out of the woods, his little legs a blur, shouting, "I saw a tiger! I saw a tiger! I saw a tiger!" He burst into the mudroom, the door banging against the wall. "I saw—" "Muddy shoes off, mister," her mom interrupted, not looking up from her cross-stitch. He continued speaking, rapid-fire, even as he dutifully put the shoes away. "I saw a tiger by the creek, a big orange one with fierce claws and fur like fire. It was awesome." "Ain't no tigers in Oklahoma, dearie." "Where's Dad?" Billy headed deeper into the house. His mother grabbed him by the arm as he passed. She looked at him with serious eyes. "Don't be telling your father ridiculous things like tigers in Oklahoma. Maybe there once was tigers in Oklahoma, but there ain't any more, and that talk is just gonna rile people up." She resumed her cross-stitching position and muttered, "Ain't no tigers in Oklahoma." "Okay," Billy sighed. But he snuck off anyway and went to his older brother, an older teenager by the name of Vincent. Vinny, Billy said. What, Vincent said, throwing his pencil down. The homework in front of him was battle-scarred with eraser streaks. "I saw a tiger." "You saw a tiger? In Oklahoma? There aren't any tigers here," Vincent said. "Are you for real?" "Yeah, I saw it. It was big and strong-looking, like a real old one with scars all over. I think it was exploring, smelling everything, and jumping up places, and swimming, and all sorts of stuff. I wanted to be my friend. Can we make it my friend?" Vincent got to thinking. It had been a long time since he'd heard people talk about animals in Oklahoma. The last time he'd heard something like this, he'd been a freshman in high school, and it was talk of a lion roaming the streets. But then people talked it down to a mountain lion, before admitting it was probably just a cat. There was only cats, dogs, cows, pigs, and chickens here now. Some horses, but only those that belonged to some people, and damn sure no wild ones. If Vincent could fight a tiger, oh man, he'd be the talk of the town, wouldn't he? Even if there probably wasn't a tiger, wouldn't it be worth a try? He turned to his brother and said, "I'll be honest, little bro, I don't know if there's a tiger out there, but I'm willing to check it out for you." Billy jumped up and down. "Great!" As they passed out of the house, their mother grabbed Vincent by the arm. "Just where are you going?" "I'm going to look for that tiger, Mama," Vincent said, determined. His mother scoffed. "Ain't no tigers in Oklahoma. You should be back there doing your homework, getting ready for a job in the fields." Vincent jerked his arm free. "I'm looking for that tiger, and I'm going to find it if it's out there, and I'm going to bring it to the circus and make $1 million. "Fine," his mother barked. "You go out there and you try to find that tiger. You'll go out there and find nothing, and waste your time when you know there are perfectly fine cattle all around." Vincent shook his head. "But they ain't fine. They're boring old cows. They don't do nothing. Don't earn anything. Don't dream nothing. That tiger's my ticket out of here." His mother grew furious. How dare you go out and search for tigers, a fool's errand, when she and his father had worked and slaved away here in the fields. They made so many sacrifices to earn those cows, he was just going to throw them away? "You just wait till your father finds out," she said finally. "Fine," Vincent said, storming out, with Billy following close behind. When they were well out the door, their mother whispered to herself, "I'm damn sure praying you find that tiger, boys. I'm damn sure praying." Vincent and Billy Jones creeped through the woods, heading for the old creek, the boundary between their rural town and the rest of the world. Billy led the way, sure that it was out there, knowing he would find it eventually. Vincent kept behind, eyes peeled, ready to go for it as soon as he spotted it, hoping against hope that it was there. He felt silly, jumping over branches, skipping over rocks, when he knew that there probably really wasn't any tigers out there. He wasn't a tiger hunter, he was just a dumb teenager. What did he know? Who was he to think that he would find the tiger after all, if no one else in this entire town had? There it is! Vincent looked up, and indeed, there it was. Across the sparkling river, the tiger stood proud. Its fur shone in the glowing, setting sun. It was looking away, in the distance. Its fur was bold lines on bright orange. It looked proud, its chin raised high. Even though it was on unsteady river ground, even though it was miles and miles from where it was supposed to be, it just looked like it belonged. It looked like no matter where it was, it would figure it out. It would, and against all odds, it would succeed. It had succeeded. Then a crack burst the moment like a firecracker in a frog. The tiger slumped and tumbled down the banks and splashed into the dirty water. Vincent and Billy turned, and there was Papa, lowering a smoking rifle. He fixed a look on Vincent and Billy and said, "Ain't no tigers in Oklahoma." The tiger soaked in the brackish brown water. The waves gently dragged the tiger into its current, down the creek, around the bend, and away out of sight of Vincent, Billy, and the rest of town.
Wow, I really liked that. That was really, really good. Like, I loved how infectious this idea of a tiger became from just like a little boy, and for a second you're like, well, he probably just saw something, because there's a lot of stories like that where the boy he saw a giant in the woods, but it turned out just to be like a really tall dude.
Okay, yeah.
But then I like how it spread to Vinny, who had a totally different idea for it, because the boy just wanted to see it and just spread the tale. But Vinny's like, I can get out of here. I can maybe be someone with this magical tiger. And then I really like the end, how the dad said, "There ain't no tigers in Oklahoma." And then, but he killed the tiger.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but in my mind I thought, oh, he's killed every tiger that wandered into Oklahoma. That's why there ain't no tigers here. But
yeah.
I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that you got the part that I had them picturing different things, because the original idea of this was that all I knew is that the tiger was going to symbolize something hopeful, and that everyone who saw it would see something different. Like, that's where sparkling came in, because I was thinking that in this rural town, different people would go and talk about this tiger in the woods, but they would describe it entirely differently. And I only had 2 people see it in the story, but the idea was like one person would see it as like something beautiful, something that is self-confident, and another would see that it's fierce and in charge and ruler of the forest, and another would see that it's, I don't know. I honestly, I couldn't think of enough interpretations.
Of the tiger,
yeah, which is kind of where I limited it.
Well, I mean, like, within this story, I feel that the tiger overall symbolized hope.
Yeah.
Like it was hope for Vinny, it was joy for the boy, and I think it was also hope for the mother at the very end, when she says, I hope you find that tiger. As if it's, one of those, like, tropes in like a movie like it, where the like mother's like, don't you go running off with that girl Mary Jane, but then at the end, when he does end up running off with the girl Mary Jane, she like has a smile and she's like, looking at him.
I knew it was gonna work out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, so to be more explicit, so when I was writing this, I was trying. I decided partway through that the tiger, at least for the teenager, would kind of symbolize like opportunity, right? Like a dream, right? A dream job or something like that. It's more than just a job, but like if I'm going to boil it down to that, right? If you're going to write an essay and say that, hopefully not that long of an essay, I don't think it would be that long, an essay of what the tiger symbolizes and decide it's a job, right? For the kid, right? It's not at all about money or anything like that. It's about fun, right?
Yeah.
It's about like a kid thinking, I want to be an astronaut because then I'll be in space and jump around and do cool stuff.
He's like, I want tiger because tiger cool.
Yeah, so that's why I had it like it has like battle scars. That means it's in fights and it's jumping around and exploring and stuff like that, which is I think what kids like to do. And then for the teenager, I almost had him like want to hunt the tiger for money, but then I was like, no, someone else has to kill it, right?
Yeah.
Someone has to take the opportunity away. And so I think I only had like half an idea. I think he should have been more explicit and like, oh, I'm going to train it. I'm going to do something with it.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to exploit the opportunity. Even though it's a rare opportunity. And the mom is like, I don't think that opportunity exists. And the father cuts it off because he doesn't think that opportunity should exist or something like that.
That was the only thing that like overall was fantastic, but that was the only thing that I had to like really think about was like if the tiger represented something to everyone, what did it represent to the father?
That's a good
question. Could
it
be his missed opportunity? I don't know.
That's a good way of putting it.
Could the father just have like a very muted look on it and see it as danger that maybe they shouldn't be going after this hope, after this joy, because at the end it'll just come back to bite them.
Yeah, that's actually a really good good idea there. In fact, I'm going off on a different branch of like, what if like when he was younger, right? He went to find the tiger or the lion or whatever it was, and
the bear
got viciously mauled, right? Like he went and tried to get the opportunity and it did not work out for him at all, right? And so he's like, this can't be for anyone else. Like if I failed, everyone's gonna fail, right?
Yeah. It could be something that malice. It could be his twisted way of protecting them. You know. Yeah. It's a possibility.
So to talk about the more of the writing process, this is like a very like intentional. I'm trying to invent some meaning here.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to continue doing that in the future ones. Like I told you last time, right? I told you guys last time how I wanted to try something more serious. And I think I'm going to keep trying to do that.
Serious Sally over here.
We'll see if this next week's words go for that. I
Do you know what's weird though?
Huh?
We're slowly gonna switch roles. Because I always do dark and broody, and you do light and bubbly. So you're gonna be emo and edgy and very noir, and I'm just gonna be talking about tiny mice having a good time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm excited for it. Yeah, so I think I'm going to keep trying to do these experimental things. I think next time, we'll see. I don't know what the words are, and I don't know what my inspiration will be, but I want to make someone feel a deep emotion.
Yeah. Deep.
I don't know if you felt anything in the story. You can say you didn't. It's totally okay.
I did. I got the same feeling that I got when I read The Outsiders and when I watched The Iron Giant.
Okay.
So both very good feelings.
I mean, Iron Giant made me cry as a kid. So
it's a beautiful movie
because Superman.
Ah, and he exploded, but he didn't.
Spoilers.
But he didn't die.
It's a good movie. He didn't die.
He had the little screwed left, which I kind of wish he had died because that would have been like a beautiful ending. And then Hogarth would be like, well, he taught me so many things.
And then he becomes an inventor, and he becomes Iron Man, and he goes and he fights the evil robots because some of them are evil, probably.
Oh, wow.
But why do he have guns? Anyway, this is a tangent. What was I saying?
Yeah, why did he have guns? Oh, because they made him to be a weapon, but he couldn't be a weapon because he loved.
Yeah, he was an alien robot too.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
Was he?
Yeah, he was an alien robot. He came from space.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
And they thought it was communist.
For some reason, I thought he was like made by the as a kid, right? I thought he was made by the U.S. government.
Nope.
But they lost. They're like,
he's somewhere in the forest Can't find him.
The Force of Canada.
What was I saying? So, I think... So when you're writing, and I'm speaking to listeners.
Okay, as well.
Yeah, when I say you, I mean...
Trying to D-up?
Everyone's listening. Everyone who's listening, including Jarvis.
So when you're writing...
They can't see you pointing at the microphone.
Oh.
You pointed at the microphone, for the record.
Just imagine like a huge finger coming at you.
Huge. Just ginormous.
Just like foot-sized finger right in your face.
I think it's an interesting experiment to try... Not necessarily, like... I think I get constrained when I, like, think of a specific meaning that I want to do. Like, I want this person to feel X about Y. I think that's a constraint that actually makes it a lot harder, because then you're really constructing it. I think what's maybe easier, and at the very least for a first draft is probably a better way to go, is to have something you want to explore, right? And then just see kind of what happens as you write, right? So like I wanted the tiger to symbolize something to different people. And so I did go back and I changed stuff, especially for the kid, where I think he just described a normal tiger at first. Yeah. Like I didn't have anything special, and then I went back and decided I wanted to make it something cool, right? That he wants to hang out with. Like the last lines that I added when I went back was, I want to be its friend. So I think that's a way that you can insert some meaning, is just by allowing yourself to explore, allowing yourself to not know the answer, maybe, and not being afraid to go back and change stuff.
I see that.
So we don't have to go on and on about this. Yeah. So we can have the final question. What would I change?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, good question, Jarvis.
Hey, Matthias. If you had another chance to do this, what would you keep the same?
So I think if I were to rewrite it, I think I would. Yes, I'm ignoring your. Yes, he made another face. Audio medium. If I were to rewrite it, I would have, I think, more perspectives and more. I don't think I would try to make it like too much more explicit what the story is about, but I think I would have like a deeper exploration of it. And explore, what it means to the father and why he's killing it, right? And why the mother doesn't care about it, right? Because I think in this story, the mother's kind of given up, and then the father is like even more than given up. He's like refusing to think that it's an actual option. Yeah. And so I think I'd explore the background of that, and then the final thing I think is that like I intentionally made it so the story doesn't act like. Isn't realistic, obviously, and I think I would just like keep it unrealistic, but make it a little bit more consistent in what the characters want, like how they're describing, right? Because I only mentioned like one time that the teenager wants to make it go to the circus or whatever.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, the story itself feels realistic. Like nothing in it is fantastical. Like, yes.
I mean, a tiger in Oklahoma is a little fantastical.
Yeah, but it could have escaped from a zoo.
Well, I do have, like, some stuff that I was slipping in, and this is when I mentioned magical realism at the top, at the beginning of talking about this, was I slip in some stuff about how there used to be tigers, used to be other animals roaming around, or something like that. Like, the mother says there aren't any tigers in Oklahoma anymore, or something like that. Yeah. And the reason was because I wanted to be like, oh, there was more opportunity before, right? And there's not anymore. And
I can see this being like a really great, like kind of like folk tale story type deal.
Yeah.
That you like read to your children, but like the first time that they hear it,
they don't get it.
They don't get it.
They just get the surface level.
But then later on, they're like, oh damn, the like tiger is life.
Yeah, they go through 3 stages. They go through. Oh, cool! They want to go find tigers, and then like, the tigers? This doesn't make any sense. This is stupid. There's so many plot holes. And then the next step is, oh yeah, symbolism.
Well, actually, there are 4 steps, right? It's this is fun. Plot holes, symbolism, and then it's when they're Papa's age, and they're like, I would have shot the tiger too.
Okay.
And then that's the final stage.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So let's transition to the last section
which is our viewers and the stories that you submitted.
Yes, so we selected 5. We randomly drew 4 stories and we selected one to talk about.
Yes.
So let me name the usernames.
That is cute. Your screensaver is of a dog and your girlfriend.
It's my girlfriend holding my cat. So you were half right.
Oof. Wait, hold on. Cats are the ones that like purr, right? And they jump on things?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Okay. So this week, come on, please load. Okay. We are talking about the stories by Synths or Science, I think.
Synths.
Shin, and then the Roman numerals for 7, so Shin 7. Asgar Zygel, J Maniac, and Nihil Supernum.
Nihil Supernum.
All of these people, you are slightly less likely to be selected next time you do the right thing, and everyone else who was not selected, you are twice as likely as them to get selected next time. So
right now, everyone else, you have 1 metaphysical point.
If by metaphysical point you mean an entry on my list.
Metaphysical.
Okay.
Yes. So
so let's just go down this list. This is really in no particular order.
Yeah.
So let's go to Synth's story, and I don't remember what it is. So let's. I remember all of the stories once prompted, but I don't remember attached to usernames.
No. All right. It's Unraveling Veil.
So I want to re-emphasize that every single story had something that I wanted to talk about that we're not going to get a chance
all but
to.
one, and that one is mine.
Okay, cool. And I'm really not just saying that. Like, as I was reading through them, I was like, maybe we should pick this one because then we get to talk about this. Maybe we should pick this one because then we get to talk about this. Ooh, I hope this one gets rolled because I want to talk about that. But we can't. We don't have the time. It's actually like, it feels really bad. But this is just kind of the direction it has to go.
Yeah, for it to be the most concise podcast, we have to not spend like an hour. Because I know, like, the first time we got 10, we spent the majority
we spent 40
of the podcast,
minutes, 50 minutes, something like that.
just going through each one, which, I mean, that was great, and it was still fun, but, you know, it doesn't make the best listening
Well, if you
experience.
haven't read the story, it's not fun. I'm sure, because then, I mean, maybe there's a bit, but if you don't fully understand what's going on, you probably get more confused. And that's just an unfortunate cost. And there's just a lot of stories. So even if you did write along, I'm willing to bet that most of you didn't read all the stories, which is totally okay. I would recommend that you do because they're fantastic. But there's a lot of words. So, on to Synth's story. It has a kind of
Unraveling Veil.
Yeah, this story, Unraveling Veil, has a kind of cold open with a man in a bar next to a southern girl.
Go on.
But the bar is kind of like in the middle of nowhere in the sort of void. Mm-hmm. And we find out that it's like a piece of a Fae's realm.
Yeah, which I didn't know Faes have realms.
Well, I mean, it's in this world they do.
Yeah, which is great. And also, I think one thing that I really liked is there was a moment where the character said that in the corner they saw something like moving.
They saw a splash of like color in the blackness
before it faded.
So it was like there was like substance there, but it was like covered up.
I don't know, like that. I love that like picture that they painted. Just how in the corner there's something like otherworldly happening, but it's not like a major thing. Yeah, it's just flavor.
So the main thing that they talk about is that this main character has been like they were caught into a fairy's realm and then they were brought back, and so they're kind of talking about how there's basically they need to fight against the Fae. So one thing I want to address real quick is I can't tell for certain, but it seems to me that this might have been inspired by Pact, which is Wild Bow's second work.
Oh, do you think so?
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff about fairy and stuff like that. I mean, this is not fan fiction; it wouldn't fit exactly into that world, but it's pretty close. And I don't know. It's just it's cool to see, even if it's not an actual reference. I don't know if since you've actually. I don't want to say actually. I don't know if since you've read it, if you have read Pact, but if you have, I don't know. It's just it's cool to see inspiration coming out from that. But anyway, I thought it was it had some really interesting way to get out the world building with like this dialogue.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good way to do that and kind of like. I mean, the main character doesn't know what's going on in this world, and so
it's a very digestible way.
Yeah,
because like I don't know, I feel that as a reader, you connect to what these characters are saying, and you really like try to understand it a lot more than if it's just exposition. Yeah, just reading it. I don't know. Yeah.
So I thought that was really that was really well done. So let me get the next person, Shin 7.
Shin 7.
Let me freaking search, please.
The 7th Shin.
I'm wondering if that's a reference to
Shinigami Tensei?
Neon Genesis Evangelion. Shinji.
Ooh, yeah.
Shinvi. That's kind of what it looks like. No.
Which, more people need to watch that. Like, there are some people out here watching anime, but they know the OGs, alright?
So, Shin 7's story, I wonder if it's Shin VII. Anyway, it's titled A Special Child. And it's
Hold on one moment, I'm still trying to find it.
It's this one.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
It's the one with the mechs.
There it is, yeah. I just wanted to have it on
So this story is in two parts. The first part is a child being led to a, like, hallowed ground. And there's a lot of, like, abstract language here.
But I also really love it.
Yeah, it's very... It draws you in. It's very, like, mystical, kind of magical language.
And then I also love how it's operating in its own world's continuity.
Sure.
To where like they're talking about these days within this world that are foreign to us, but of course to them it's very real. Like there's this point where it says mightier than strong Hansa, smarter than wise Pukri.
I mean, just commit to it.
Yeah. Smarter than wise Pukri. Better on the hunt than savage Lukai. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's just
really well put names, yeah.
And also, I don't know, like, just reading through it, and especially the beginning, it reminded me so much of Horizon Zero Dawn. Have you played that game?
No, but I've seen it.
Yeah, so just how, like, it's this kind of, like, tribal punk type deal, to where there is like this cybernetic technology, but they have like a very tribal system that they're working with. And then farther down, it turns out that they're riding in mechs, which hits me right in the heart.
Yeah.
I'm a deep lover of all things.
What's an
mech.
interesting thing that and let me find who said it. I think hold on. Niall Supernum, I think, is the one that does it. He point, or they, I don't actually know their gender. They point out that in the second part, right, it's 30 years after the first, right? In the first they're a child, and then 30 years later. The second part has a lot more technical language relating to these mechs, right? Like relating to power cores and stuff like that. So it's interesting how it goes from like mystical language explained to a child, and then these still are like magical mechs, right?
Yeah.
But they know of how they work, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting transition from
and then also
the mystical into the physical.
How the voice kind of changed.
Yeah.
Between two parts, which is basically what you just said, but like beyond just the language, the flow of it completely changed. Like in the beginning, I can see it just being this one a very long piece, right? Where you go to then the Queen of Tigers, which I thought like that entire section was really nice and it read very well. But then later on, let's see if I can, 30 years later, then I think something that I really like is that 30 years later, you're finally getting a little bit of dialogue and like actually other characters, which is, I don't know, it's a natural grow over time.
Rather than this child being kind of self-centered. I mean, they start, like, decreeing things from the day they're born or something like that.
It's like, I am God!
Yeah, and so they kind of get more humanized as they go, is what it seems.
And it turns out they're about to go into war.
Which is always cool.
War's always good.
Yeah. So let's go on to the next one by Asghar Zykel, called Satisfied Customer. It was the last story submitted before ours, which are extremely late. Now that
Step it up, Asheville Zykel.
I'm just teasing because it's totally okay to do it.
Yeah.
So long as it's before we read it, it's totally okay. Before we start recording, it's fine. So this story was always awesome.
Yes.
I really like the story. This one has this Xeno. Hold on, I want to read their comment first. Asghar says that English is not their first language, and to be honest, I barely noticed.
Really?
There was there was some like typos and stuff, but it was, I mean, it's par for the course. Like I probably have just as many errors, like no more, no less. So really well done there.
That's honestly pretty great that you're broadening your horizons.
So this story has it's from the perspective of a kind of like demonic centipede sort of thing. It's not described exactly how it is, but it's horrifying, whatever it is. It's got many eyes, skittering legs, and it's the size of a man, at least, right? And it's covered in hides, like animal hides. So I thought the opening and all the description is awesome and really creepy. But the heart of the story is a person goes to it, and we get through the description what emotions taste like to this creature. And I thought it was explored pretty well.
Fear.
With just like some things have like hints of something else, and there's a lot of color in these emotions. And like desperation was described as like stringy and tough and like not. These aren't the exact words, but not tasty, right? But the person offers the creature the love that someone they love has for someone else because they're jealous, and the way that emotion, the jealousy, is described is fantastic. Where it's like love being strangled by veins of jealousy, which I don't know. There's a lot of imagery there, and I thought it was really interesting. So, and of course, there's the irony of that. The creature is going to eat more than just the love of that woman to the other person, right? They're going to eat all of that person's love, and then eat the regret of the person asking for it, which is awesome. Really, I didn't expect that. So really well done, Asghar, and I hope you come up with more cool concepts like this. Also, I'm definitely going to try to steal this. I'm definitely going to straight up steal this at some point.
100%. And then also cool. In their comment there, TLDR, don't know what that means.
Too long didn't read. That's what TLDR stands for. It's too long
didn't read.
Too long didn't read.
Their summarization is delicious. Finally, some good fucking food.
Yeah, I read that. That was great. After the whole post, yeah. So let's go into our fourth story for the evening by J Maniac.
Demaniac.
Which was...
Are you mental, bruv?
The Town You Passed Through.
I liked this one a lot.
Yeah, do you want to summarize it for us?
I'm trying to... Oh. Okay, here's... Hold on. Is this the one that... No, I'm thinking of a different one.
It's this one.
No, like I have it. I was thinking about the Neighbors one that I read. Is that one of the options?
Yeah, that's going to be the last one.
All right, cool. I really like that one. No, go ahead and summarize this one.
Okay, so this story that the Town You Pass Through has these two characters. Owen, which is the sheriff, I believe, or something like it. A lawman in this... I think it's a magical Western world. It's kind of...
That's definitely the vibe that I'm getting.
Yeah, it's not extremely explicitly. Actually, no, it is explicitly magical because at the end they draw a rune. But they are going through the forest looking for a tiger with a young boy. I wrote my story at the end, maybe taking some inspiration there.
And then also one thing that I really liked is that at first, as it begins, at least I thought, oh, this young boy's going to be the main character, and it turns out he's not.
Yeah,
it's the old man going through it, but eventually they do stumble upon this girl.
Yes, and we know that there's going to be a tiger, not only because they've talked about it, but also because one of the words is tiger, right? So we assume that it's going to be pretty central, right? But we don't see the tiger. So there's automatically like a tenseness as they encounter this really, really weird girl, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's actually a boy because because the voice came out a lot deeper than it's supposed to be.
It's ambiguous, I think, when they first see it, but then it is a boy. The pronouns switch, actually.
Yeah, which I like. I think that's a really cool little flavor there.
But one thing that I thought was a great twist is that the lawman starts asking the kid questions, right? And we, as readers, know that if a creepy kid in the forest is staring off in the distance, and this is a short story, it's probably going to be magical and, like, weird stuff, right? So the kid says, like, cryptic stuff like, where are you from, kid? Everywhere and nowhere, but the north more than anywhere. And then Owen, the lawman, says, away from the city then, in his narration. So it really seems like he's completely misinterpreting what he's just, like, interpreting this as literal. He's doing the movie thing, he's doing the TV show thing, right?
Also something that I like is that before Owen was talking to the boy about, like, him seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
And this might be one of those spirits that they did see. So I like how it all just came back.
What I think is great is that, so we are expecting that Owen is just the dumb, like, not believing, he's not trope aware, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, the tiger does appear, right? And Owen kind of, like, I mean, he's terrified of it, but he also, like, takes it in stride, and he uses magic by the end, right?
Yeah.
So we get this turnaround from, oh, he's just a guy, he's, like, treating this like it's just a weird kid, when it's actually magical, but he actually does know it's magical, and
he's ready.
He's trying to be ready for it. He does end up dying at the end. Spoilers, but...
Does he?
Yeah, it says, a moment later, the tiger pounced, and no one thrust his hand out, putting all the power Cowstock, the town, could muster into the room. It wasn't enough.
Oh, yeah.
So he dies. But, anyway, I thought that subversion was it was very interesting.
I don't know, maybe for me, Alex saw that as, like, a, like, cliffhanger, to where, like, even if that one move wasn't enough, I didn't immediately jump to him being dead.
Immediately.
But, of course, he's not going to win.
Torn out. And the... I thought it was very interesting. So the last one we're going to talk about is by Niall Supernum, and Niall used to write when So-Called Writers was going, and I remember you, Niall. I don't remember if he's. I shouldn't say you, because there's other yous out there.
I remember of you, Niall.
I don't remember if Niall Supernum was directly related to the podcast as, like, another member of the Doof family, extended family of, like, one of the, I don't know, Matt's friend or brother. I'm sorry, guys. When I say guys, I mean, sorry, Doofcast. I don't remember exactly who it is. But regardless, I remember seeing Niall's stories there a lot. So it's actually really cool to kind of, like, have this coming back. I hope some of the others, these usernames are not going to matter to anyone but the ones that used to listen to So-Called Writers. But Ren Roby and I think Mimera Coctus is a friend of the podcast for sure. And others. I'm forgetting the others, but I remember talking to Ren Roby a lot. And so I hope he finds this podcast. But anyway.
But this one, which is named Neighborly, I really liked.
So I will admit, I chose the story, the tiebreaker for me, because I had, like, a top 5. The tiebreaker for me was because I want to give a shout out to Niall Supernum for coming back over here, and also it's
just like, it's such a great piece. It wraps around on itself perfectly, and basically it's just it takes place in, like, kind of like rural America, where the main character Scott, his neighbor comes over and basically says that a flying saucer landed in his backyard.
And the delivery of this is just so fun, because the beginning of it has, like, a long not necessarily tension, but like it definitely things are being dragged out, and we like the character knows, both of the characters know that, and we know that, and narration knows that. Let me find a couple examples. So like we start off like reading like a character's like doing Sudoku, and then like the door knocks, and they walk over to the door, and they open it, and they say hi, they exchange some small talk, and then they like let him in. And so Scott, the host, like asks, it sees that the Donnie is nervous and asks if something's on his mind, right? And then they do like some more small talk, talking about what's going on in their life before, like saying, "Do you want anything to eat?" Marge made her apple rhubarb crumble. "No, that's all right, though I do love Marge's crumble," Donnie replied, haltingly, seeming to try to work up the courage for something. "No, I came by on account of there's this flying saucer crash landed over on the farm." It's like such an abrupt, like, it's so fun. I love that.
But also, I think something that I love is that they're both taking it pretty casual.
The host, Scott, is just like, "Oh, I heard about that."
Yeah.
Like, another one nearby did that, didn't they? Mm-hmm. And then they have this, like, running joke of, like, that neighbor being a drunk on account of being a drunk, no one believes him.
And then how at the end they can't tell anyone because the last person who did was a drunk and no one really cared.
Yeah. So the first half of the story actually, I think, could stand on its own because it ends just them deciding to go out to the flying saucer and be like, "What are neighbors for?" Right?
Which also in the comment below, I think it said that they weren't really sure why Reddit said that they reached like max number.
I think it did actually reach the max number. I will say that I do think it did reach it. But
I will say one thing: it is the perfect stopping point between two sides of it, because at the end of that is when they decide to go out. And the beginning of it is when they're already there.
Yeah, and the other half of the story is they go over to the flying saucer and they're ready to shoot it or not.
Yeah,
but then
they have guns drawn.
Right. The alien comes out and it's like a robot thing, and basically
it was just like an orb.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, is that the alien or is that just like...
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it's true. But basically
it asks for fuel, and they give it essentially for free, just because it's the right thing to do as neighbors.
And also because they are neighbors.
I just said that.
Oh.
I'm keeping that entire pause in there.
Please do.
Yeah, so they said that they were kind of rushed at the end, but honestly, I didn't really feel it. Like, it felt like this is the direction the story was going towards as soon as like they started acting nice to the alien. And so it was just like a nice little moral of the story: be nice to your neighbors, and hopefully also, good things come back to you.
I love how, even though he traveled through space, gasoline did it for him. Yeah,
gasoline is enough, which is just another fun little touch.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like, it's just a really fun and it's a very tight story. I honestly feel that there's no fat on it.
Yeah.
I feel that it does a really good job at tying up loose ends and giving us
painting this picture of the community there,
exactly,
which is like it's a rural neighborly town, and when flying saucers crash, they just help each other out.
Yeah. And I don't know, I like how they built up these two characters, them both being similar but different.
Yeah.
And how at the end they're like, well, I forgot who said it. Either it was Scott or the neighbor. But when they were debating whether or not to like help out this alien, one of them said, "Well, I mean, if like I was in his shoes, I would hope someone gave me the benefit of the doubt."
Yeah.
Which I really liked. How, I don't know, that's just something that you don't really see. That's something that I haven't seen, at least, and I feel that the story.
I do like that it wasn't an exchange, and it wasn't even like that dire of a situation.
Yeah, it was a little chill.
Needed some fuel, but it wasn't gonna like die, right?
Or kill them,
and it didn't give them technology either. They just helped out.
Yeah,
that was it's cool.
And then the only promise was like, hey, if you're ever thinking about invading, just tell people that were pretty cool.
Yeah. So the main thing I liked about the story, though, is that opening where they drag it out so long, but it's very intentionally so.
It's very purposeful.
It all feels if I was an editor wanting to cut stuff, I would not want to cut any of that.
100%.
So that's the stories this week. And again, the last time I'm going to say this for this week, but I promise. But all of the stories were amazing, and I wanted to talk about all of them. So please, everyone who wrote this week and didn't have their story talked about, and everyone who did have their story talked about, please continue doing the right thing and write next week, because I want to see what else you guys can create.
And also feel proud about what you did, if you were mentioned and not.
Yeah, let me actually just go through and say all the usernames of people.
Yeah, right.
Which unfortunately I can't talk about your stories, but I just want to give you guys shout outs. So everyone else was Stuck in Reddit Factory, Calinero 985, Mizey1, Zorg Lord, It's All Uphill. I think I really love that one. I don't exactly remember what the story is, but I remember reading that and then looking at their username and thinking they did good. And everyone else as well. Corona Palencia, Kausubalu V2, Kyrgyzstan, No Goodbye, Inconspicuous Germ, Generous Nat, Captain Rhino, and Sarah Penguin. All great work. If I missed your username, I must have accidentally deleted it, and I'm very sorry.
And also, I noticed that a lot of those are return right thinkers. And I'm very happy about that you're keeping up with it and keeping consistent with us and keeping us on our toes.
And everyone who's new, thank you so much for joining us. So if you are a listener and are not currently writing along with us, please consider doing so. You can do that by going to /r/do the right thing with a W, right, like a writing, and going to the latest post, and post your story there. You just have to sit down for 30 minutes and write a story that has at least 3 of the 4 random words that we're going to mention at the end of this episode.
Exactly. And also, if you want to get those words in a more packaged format, you should follow our Twitter, which is @RightThingCast. And you can also send us a good old-fashioned email, which is at the exact same thing, @RightThingCast@gmail.com.
That's right. So if you don't have a Reddit account, and either you just want to send it to us or you want us to read it for you, or to post it for you, you can send us that email. And for everyone that's listening, we please consider going to going to patreon.com/doofmedia and donating $1 more or whatever else you can afford, because one little benefit is if you are a patron of any level, you get increased chances of having your story read.
We have 2 beautifully perforated spots for you in our 5 weekly, what are we gonna call it?
I don't know what you mean by 5 weekly.
Do you like 5 stories that we like?
Oh, yes,
that we talk about. 2 of them are specific for
slots.
you. Drawing slots, yes. And then also, along with that, you can be added to the Discord, so you can have a direct line of contact.
There's some awesome talking that goes on in there, and if you are a fan of Wildbow's stories, I mean, he's in there and he says some very interesting stuff.
Yes.
In fact, Matt Freeman and Wildbow had this like really interesting conversation recently. That was like, to me, it was like an essay on, what was the topic? It was, how you can buy into a bad ideology because critiquing life is a lot easier, right? So a lot of ideologies are really good at like pointing out what's wrong, right? And so you buy into them, you're like, oh, I know the truth. But then it offers you solutions, and the solutions actually aren't really good, but you're already so deep in the ideology, you can't do that, right? So, you just have to buy it. And I don't know, it was a very, very well thought out conversation, and I was very interested.
But also, I mean, like the entire Discord is filled with stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
there's some awesome people,
and then other writers. Which I mean, I feel the best thing that's ever happened to me, honestly, was meeting a fellow writer like Matthias, and just having that like other person to really. Who understands?
Yeah, just to hash things out. It's just awesome. Just to have someone enthusiastic about it. It's just really cool, and not have blank stares when I'm talking about it.
Because when I talk about writing to my mom, she says, "Well, that's nice."
Okay. Well, I also want to plug at least 2 of Doof Media's shows right now.
Yes.
So, Vow to View has recently undergone a transformation to be. It is now called What You Say. an OC podcast,
Yes.
Which is a podcast as I understand it, going to do an episode-by-episode analysis of The OC, which I haven't seen, so I don't know much about it.
Old show.
Uh-huh.
It's really fun, and
I think Scott and Elise might have to fight you on that for calling them old, for listening to... watching The OC.
Listen. I've watched Journey to the Moon, so am I old?
I have no idea what that is.
It's one of the very first films ever made. 1914.
Wow.
I have to know that because I'm a film major. And I can.
It's on every test.
It's on every... It's the first question.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the first film? But yeah, I'm going to promise to actually keep up to date to that. Since I'm fairly new to the Doofus.
While I'm not going to watch... no offense, Scott and Elise, I'm probably not going to start watching The OC. I still think I'm going to really enjoy listening to their episodes, at the very least because of their Bachelor... commentary, which is now placed at the end, so now I have to listen to the whole episode. Not that I ever didn't, but and listen to the Rosie the Dornies.
Any podcast with the Bachelor in it, I'm all for it.
You gotta go listen to the Valley View backlog because it's a lot of fun.
The Bachelor is funny. I just saw my first full episode last night. This dude Clay and this other guy who's just trying to like steal this woman that they've been fighting over, and she absolutely loves it the entire time.
Okay.
Clay left, but then his buddy came up and said, "You ain't." Hey, he's like, "Oh, sorry, bro," but
he's doing like a post up.
But like Clay's one of my
like a post up body posture,
post up bodybuilding kind of thing. But it's like, sorry, bro, but my Clay is like one of my best buds, and then he took down this pinata that the other guy hung up. So they and the very last shot was a guy who basically ran up to him, getting him and flipping him over himself, probably breaking his neck on the sand. So I think the next episode is going to start with a murder.
Okay. So if you want more brilliant Bachelor recaps like that, please go listen to What You Say. Now on the Doof Network.
Yes.
I always want to plug at least two. I'm still not caught up on We've Got Ward, so I'm going to plug We've Got Ward even though I'm not caught up. Yeah. But honestly, I would say if you haven't listened to We've Got Worm yet, you or if you haven't even read Worm, I think if you just get yourself like an arc or two in, it's brilliant. It's awesome. I need to go listen to the first arcs again, but just listening to that journey is just so much fun.
I will say, since as you know, I've been trying to get through Worm, and recently I decided to restart, just get the whole story in. After arc 1, I was in.
Yeah.
Because like the first arc for me is kind of touch and go, but that's with any beginning. But by the end of it, you get a look into like what this world kind of is. You get these like really cool characters, and the way that it is written is really great, and it is very smart. How it only tells you exactly what you need to know just to get to the next scene, and all of these characters feel very different and very
and alive.
Genuine.
Yeah. I will say, if I'm going to do a critique of Wildbow's work, which he's much better writer than I will ever be, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. A lot of his stories, I not struggle, but like their beginnings usually aren't as strong as their middles and endings are. I've read Worm, Twig, and I'm like on arc 8 of Ward. I'm going to try to catch up real quick. And I'm up to Deep Impact, where they are in Pact. And I will say, I think Pact is the one with the strongest beginning, where it's like, from the beginning, I'm like completely bought in. Twig is awesome as well, but it's like, it definitely feels like until like arc 10, it's like arc 10 is just so... And post arc 10 is like so awesome that like everything before kind of pales in comparison.
So
Wildbow like comments on why he thinks it went those way, and it's because he was like didn't really find his footing completely in those stories until a ways in.
Okay, so do you think maybe the reason why you feel that way is because it gets so great
I'm wondering,
that you're like, why wasn't this awesome built up in the beginning?
I do wonder that might be why I feel that way, is that, I mean, maybe that's why I don't feel that way about PAX, is because I haven't finished PAX yet. That just like, although Worm, I've heard from people that the beginning feels a little too YA and a little too...
It does definitely feel YA, but
that said, I love all of Wildbow's work, like, with all of my heart. Like, it's been like I just want to put that out there that I'm not hating on the bow.
If you can't tell, Matthias was pleading.
I've been a super fan
for dear God to his one true idol.
Yeah,
Wonder Bread.
Yeah, anyway, I think it's just interesting that once he does get his footing... Well, actually, the thought that I want to go back to was that, like, I had this thought earlier. It was like, when you start reading it, it feels like it's like a 9 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to the middle part, and you're like, okay, this is like 11 out of 10. And then the ending is like a 14 out of 10. Like, it exceeds what you think is possible of a work like this.
Which is why I am so excited to read it. So I feel that you, as our listener, if you haven't touched it, if you haven't read it, you should definitely read it. And then also, after you finish that arc, you should go and listen to We've Got Worm. Because I did that, the first ep, and I absolutely loved it. Because, you know, it is compartmentalizing a lot of the things that are in it into this very digestible piece that's also very fun to like listen to.
Yeah.
And they pick up on things that you did pick up on, but also things that you might not. So I don't know. I just feel it's a really good time. And it kind of builds this, group feel to like read
I mean, they've made, and I guess we now have made, I would say they and still on that, but the Tooth Media, right, has really made this awesome community around. I mean, obviously, Wildbow himself has cultivated this amazing community on Parahumans, but like in this analysis of so many people going on the same journey together, it's been pretty fascinating and awesome to. Even if I'm not part of it the whole time, just being able to sneak into there, it's pretty fantastic.
Just to touch it.
Yeah. So, okay, we should wrap up this episode. So, that was a Wild Bow Talk section.
Yeah. But thank you, honestly, for everyone that submitted, everyone that's listening, everyone that has donated to the Patreon, and everyone that will.
Yeah, and everyone who hasn't yet. We totally understand that it's not everyone's at that place.
Oh, yeah, because I haven't, because I don't have any money.
I haven't either, but... Well, I will now that we get something from...
Yeah.
I'm going to probably put my share of the anything straight back into media, just to repay all those years of being guilty. The question is, should we
save it, though, for more equipment?
I mean, it's not that much, so...
It's just save it, though.
It's like $5 a month.
That's a different... I
don't know if I'm going to keep that. But so let's find out the words for next week.
I was looking it up, too. Let's see who can get there faster.
Again, the challenge is sit down for 30 minutes, write a complete short story that includes 3 of these
randomly
following
generated words.
I'm going to get to it first. Okay, I'm going to get
not.
Next week's words are Indent, Attempt, Tranquil, and Untidy. I just realized that I already posted these words because I posted them on Sunday and we're recording after Sunday.
You did?
Yeah.
Why did you post them on Sunday?
Because that's when the words come out. They always have to come out on Sunday.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, I got Twisted Worlds Wednesday.
Well, that's because I tweet in the tweet. I said it's Wednesday because I messed up. Thank you for calling me out, Scott or Matt, or whoever it was.
But yes, it is Indent, Attempt, Tranquil, and Untidy.
There's a very clear through line to me of writing.
Yes,
indenting, and it's all untidy. And I made an attempt to write, and actually we already have our first submissions to this week, which is pretty crazy that we wrote our stories a day late while the submissions were already there.
Exactly. A loose pen can be untidy and miss all the indentions, but it was a attempt, and in the fervor of attempting some greatness. You find tranquility.
That's right. There was a guy, and he was just attempting to find tranquility, but no! Everything was untidy, kids were screaming, and indentation.
That's pretty
I couldn't find where that would go. But
yeah, okay, well, see, okay, I will say though, indent's going to be the hardest word.
Maybe.
By far. Because it's too specific.
It is extremely specific to writing. I think you can't even say that, like, the wall was indented. Like, that's not how you use it.
Well, see, I was thinking, like, his skull was indented. Like,
okay.
You punched him so hard that you
could do that.
Gave him a contusion.
Someone come up with the cleverest way to use an indentation indent as a word.
Can a indentation in your piece be the word indent?
Oh, actually, I won't. I was going to offer you the challenge. Are you going to try to write a truthful story next time?
I will. I will definitely, because thankfully this week I have time on Wednesday. I won't be working. All I have to do is actually show some of the new UNT kiddos around the RGFP building.
Fantastic.
But I'm actually going to get some sleep tomorrow night.
Do you have a challenge for me?
Your challenge, I feel, I want you to go all the way.
I don't know what that means.
I want you to... So you say that you want something more serious, right? Mm-hmm. I just want you to make a very serious, a very touchy piece.
With the word indent as the central piece. I don't know if I'll be able to pull that off, but I'll try something.
I'm not saying the word indent, but I do feel, something serious, something that cannot be misconstrued as satire or comedy.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
Straight-laced.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah. And our challenge to you, our viewers, is very simple. We just want you to ride along with us.
Right, and we hope that this challenge... We challenge you to go out and do the right thing.
First time.
That was the best goal you've ever done!
Yeah, and that's going to be the best. We're never going to do that again.